Coastal Roots Farm is a nonprofit Jewish community farm and education center with the mission to nourish community. We're situated among production and research greenhouses and nonprofits on a larger property known as Leachtag Commons in Encinitas, California. Inspired by Jewish wisdom and centuries-old agricultural traditions, we practice regenerative and organic farming and share our harvest with communities that lack access to healthy food. Our 17-acre farm includes 2.5 acres of vegetable fields and an 8.5-acre food forest, where we grow more than 40,000 pounds of food each year and harvest it at peak ripeness for maximum flavor and nutrition. We use and believe in regenerative and organic farming practices meant to restore topsoils, enrich soil fertility, enhance water conservation and improve watersheds, enhance ecosystems, and increase biodiversity, all while growing nutrient-dense food with and for our community. Through educational programs and internships, we hope to educate and inspire others to use farming approaches that will sustain, not harm, the food system we so deeply rely on.
When you're in a sustainable relationship with the earth, you might be growing a little less food. It might require more people. You might be putting more time into your practices, but you have that longevity and that long-term sustainability of the land that you're working with.
Regenerative agriculture, sustainable agriculture, organic agriculture. At the core of all of it is that we have nothing if we don't have a good, healthy soil.
In the United States, soil on cropland is eroding 10 times faster than it can be replenished. Soil is a living organism that determines our ability to produce nutrient-dense, resilient crops that can outgrow pest and disease pressure. Conventional farms, based on an industrialized food system, utilize synthetic inputs such as fertilizers, pesticides, and GMOs to increase production and make the cheapest food possible. While born from consumer demand, this approach contributes to a broken food system designed for long-distance distribution and exploits farm workers, animals, soil, and the environment in the process. Regenerative agriculture consists of farming practices that enhance the health of agricultural soil, the very foundation of everything that grows. At Coastal Roots Farm, we prioritize techniques that build and maintain soil and sequester carbon, not just to grow great food, but also to contribute toward a solution for the larger problem of global warming.
Because when you see the earth as full of resources, it becomes this race to the bottom to try and extract those resources and take more and more for yourself or your company. But when you see the earth as a source of life, you understand that you have to feed and nurture that life in the same way that the earth nurtures and feeds us.
Part of farming, the way we do, is increasing soil organic matter and diversity in the land that we are cultivating. So that means growing 30 varieties of vegetables, if not more, depending on the time of year. That diversity really is what will strike a balance as far as insects go and as far as different weeds go and different bacteria in the soil go.
Some of our farming technologies include crop rotation, cover cropping, sheet mulching, chicken rotation, intercropping, companion planting, integrated pest management, stationary beds, and use of drip irrigation. We experiment with different approaches and continue to refine our protocols to ensure we are being the best possible land stewards, and also to keep production efficiencies and health of our team front of mind, so we can continue to feed as many people as possible.
So people say that there are as many ways to farm as there are farmers. I really believe that's true. I think it's also true that there are as many ways to farm as there are pieces of land. You're always catering to the specific land that you're on. We've definitely learned a lot from what other farms are doing and different practices that people coming to the farm have brought from past experiences, but we're also doing a lot of trial and error to figure out what works best for our farm.
Our food forest is an agroforestry system that integrates canopies, perennial plants, cover crops, and animals into a forest ecosystem. Integral to our food forest is our silvopasture, alleys between rows of fruit trees that run along the contour of the land. Agroforestry practices can increase farm yields, conserve water, limit the use of pesticides, increase wildlife habitat and improve ecosystems, sequester carbon to fight global warming, and improve the health and composition of soil.
So when I started on the farm, 5 years ago, this was a bare plot of land, and it's so mind-blowing to see 5 years later, it really is already a forest. We're growing some of the most amazing vegetables on the farm up here. When I started, the soil here was a combination of backfill from a construction site and potting mix from greenhouses on the property. And to see the way that we've transformed that soil and the vegetables that we're pulling out of it now is just really amazing.
Our more than 200 pasture-raised chickens play a critical role on the farm. We practice a rotational grazing system and move them through fresh silvopasture alleys a few times a month. The relationship between the chickens and food forest is mutually beneficial. The forest offers shade, fresh vegetables, and plenty of space where they forage for insects, eliminating many future pests. And in return, chickens fertilize and aerate the soil and provide delicious, protein-rich eggs that are available at our farm stand. We produce our own compost using local donated organic lettuce, arborist mulch, and horse manure, as well as kitchen scraps from our own friends and neighbors. Since our inception in 2014, through our compost operation, we've diverted more than 4 million pounds of waste from the landfill. We use an aerated static pile system that minimizes the need to turn piles. This approach reduces the need for human labor and diesel and maintains a healthy community of microorganisms. Compost piles heat up to 133 degrees Fahrenheit, which burns off harmful pathogens and maintains a healthy balance of bacterial and fungal populations.
Compost is a process of death. Life comes from death. And being a part of compost, it taught me that. And what you're doing is you're bringing all this material that is slowly decaying and dying, and you're like, why? And if you bring it together, there's this, I would say, magistry or mystery or whatever, that when you bring the right elements together, there's a whole ecosystem that starts to happen.
So that's one of the beautiful things that we get to participate in, is the life and death cycle on a daily basis. We're constantly sowing in successions our seeds, we're constantly harvesting, so we're looking at the cycles of the seasons, selecting varietals. We might grow broccoli 12 months of the year, but we're planting 8 different types of broccoli in order to hit that different seasonality. And every new moon starts a new month within the Jewish calendar.
We observe the Jewish holidays of Tu B'Shvat, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot, also known as the birthday of the trees, and festivals of ripeness, harvest, and gathering. This link between festivals and seasons keeps us grounded in their corresponding lessons. They inform our commitment to food justice, responsible land stewardship, and compassionate treatment of animals, values shared across many cultures and traditions.
We have these beautiful, rich Jewish agricultural values and Jewish values. And when someone walks onto the farm, they can see right away, this is not a typical farm. What is the meaning behind all of this, and why are we growing the food, and how can we grow it in a way that benefits the land and gives back to the land and the people and the community we are feeding?
The Jewish agricultural values that Costa Roots Farm was founded on are particular and they are unique, but it is something that everybody can relate to. We have a welcoming and inclusive space where we have folks of all backgrounds that come and experience these values, and they can really relate to them. They're best practices as it relates to agriculture. There's a moral code there that folks of all backgrounds can subscribe to, and it's just a lens at which we look through the world and treat our community that we can together experience. At the farm, we envision a world in which every community comes together to grow and share healthy food, care for the land, help their neighbors, and strengthen the connections they have with each other. We farm shoulder to shoulder with our community, participating in all aspects of the agricultural cycle from seed to harvest. We aim to be proactive in sustaining the land we delight in and depend on. We share appreciation for food and the food system, Jewish tradition, natural medicine, and the natural world.
Everyone has a real strong sense of compassion and belief in the mission, in food justice, also just agricultural practices, sustainability, mindfulness of our environment and resources, and how those are all interconnected. And I feel like we all can really connect with one another with those really deep-seated beliefs.
I am really always truly excited to bring people to Coastal Roots Farm to experience and learn about what we're doing, because I find that when people have an opportunity to truly get involved in the process, it becomes personal. And by getting their hands in the soil, by interacting with our farmers here, I believe that that's going to make the long-term impact in how they're purchasing food, how they're protecting the environment, and ultimately how they're interacting with our community.
Everyone at Coastal Roots knows the value of volunteers. It's a lot of labor, a lot of energy, a lot of hands that are needed to sow the fields and harvest the crops, so that gratitude comes through in a real genuine way.
When we sow seeds, it's not just with intention, but also faith that they will grow. We take to heart that people rely on us for not just food, but to be fed for opportunities to connect and learn. At Coastal Roots Farm, we're proud to be part of what is a much larger global movement for environmental sustainability. This is our humble contribution to a larger food system in need of much repair.
Here at Coastal Roots Farm, we believe that organic, regenerative agriculture can help feed the world and heal the planet. That's our commitment. But everybody has the opportunity and the responsibility to play a part. Our lives and our communities depend on it.
Something happens when we allow ourselves to be in relationship with our environment. A tendency for us is we want to alter it and restructure it for our benefit. But for millions, billions of years, nature's been growing and evolving. And so we're trying to watch it, we're trying to be a part of it, and we've learned a lot through the years, and so that's what we're doing. We're trying to cultivate organic matter, we're trying to let biology be here, we're trying not to dump toxins and use pesticides, we're trying to let land do its process, and we're trying to be a part of that.